Hey, good morning. Look at this is the most faces we've ever had on the daily Bible take with Ryan and Jake. Who are your faces?
My name's Luke, and I'm middle school pastor at Cedar Mill Bible Church.
Yeah. My name is Nick. I'm the high school pastor at, you know it, Cedar Mill Bible Church as well.
Living legends in the flesh. Well, not really in the digital screen, in the pixel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're so
the
stoked to have you
flesh.
guys on this morning. We've been looking at a psalm each day, encouraging students and whoever's finding our crazy videos. And today it's Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. What do you guys think?
Yeah, real quick,
So
Ryan, we have one extra special guest, and that's your guitar. I'm itching to find out what you have planned with your guitar today.
Well, I just like this psalm. There's some songs that like verbatim are verses, and those songs that have that, like whenever I read those passages, I typically just hear the song. And so this is actually another living legend in the Portland area, Josh White, who planted Door of Hope Church and was in telecast. He wrote this song. He wrote a song called Psalm 27, and it goes. No, I'm not gonna do it. The Lord is my light and my salvation. When my enemy attacks, whom shall I fear? And it's like, let's see, quick. One thing I ask, one thing I see, is to dwell in your house, oh Lord. One thing I ask, one thing I see. Anyways, it's great.
So good.
Dude, so good.
That is tight. I'm going to listen to that after this.
Well, Luke, Nick, this is a great psalm. It's another one of those I think that's pretty popular or familiar. What spoke to you guys this morning as you were reading it?
Dude, the psalm is legendary, man. It is super good. Dude, Luke, why don't you go ahead, man?
Sure. Well, I think there's a couple things that kind of spoke to me. One of those just being the first verse. The Lord is my light, my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? That's just been, I don't know, like a thorn in my side, I think, for a while. It's just fear of man. And I don't have the thing is I'm not even in David's shoes. I think this psalm would probably come alive for me a little more if I was fearing for my life. He has people, it says in the verse, people are looking to devour him, looking at armies besieging him. Most of my fears are just social fears. But I still find comfort in the fact that something that the Bible just says a lot is that if we fear God, then we have no one else to fear. And so I lean on that often. And then I think something that stood out to me probably the most in this psalm is verse 10, though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. And it just got me thinking this morning that David sounds like is carrying some family difficulty. And I think the rejection of a parent is probably just a really tough thing for a lot of people. And I find comfort knowing that that David has been through maybe some similar struggles. I just coming off of Mother's Day, I love my mom, but me and my mom have a difficult relationship. And so was finding comfort in that psalm, knowing that that truly in God that we can find. I think sometimes maybe when it comes to family rejection of some sort, that it just cuts extra deep. And even like, I think family rejection or family hurts can maybe even define us in some ways. But if we can like let go of some of those things that define us or hurt us and cling to the Lord, like, which sounds like, it sounds like a easy answer, right? When it comes to family hurt, like, oh, you can cling to the Lord and he's enough for us. But I find real comfort knowing that, that he is like a father to the fatherless, and like even like can fill some holes in your life when it comes to like some motherly hurt or some things like that. So just was, when I was reading that, just thinking of, it seems like too easy of an answer, or it seems like almost flip it to be like, oh, there's family hurt, like God can fill that family hurt. But for me, just learning, really to lean on God and allow him to, I think back to those first verses, I was encouraged is that when we have like God's security, his love, we don't have to fear rejection of anybody, including like even some of the hardest rejection we face in our life, which could be like family rejection or hurts. So I'm super encouraged by that.
That's right. Yeah. And it's common today that, that their families are struggling with that. So I love that. That's, I think, a really encouraging word for somebody.
Hey,
Mick, what about you? Yeah.
All right. That's money, Luke. Thanks for sharing that, man. One of the things that was sticking out most to me was just in verse 4, where David is talking about this one thing that he has asked from the Lord. And dude, the whole this one thing is necessary, or there's one thing that I am needful of. Sometimes I'm like, dude, I actually need a lot of things. And a question came up to my mind was like, can I be satisfied with this one thing? And I'm asking myself the question, like, what is this one thing for David? And the one thing that he asks, it's the one thing that he like is satisfied in. And it's a word that kept coming to mind is proximity. This just like proximity to God. He desires and pursues close proximity to God. And as something that popped in my mind is Mary. Mary and Martha, like in Luke 10, verse 42, it says, one thing is necessary, and Mary has chosen the best part, which will never be taken away from her. So I just thought that was a cool connection. Like this one thing that David, through all of his experiences, he's like, dude, I only desire and pursue one thing because it's the good life. That's where the action is at. I've experienced life, and I pursue this one thing. And that's the mind that we see of in Colossians. A mind fixed on the things above is a single-minded life, this one thing that's pursued. And I'm like, dang, that convicted me, but it also encouraged me. Like, if I have this one thing, proximity to God, like I have all that I need. So,
dude, come on.
So good.
Let's go.
Good.
That is, man, I don't know. That was, you just blew my mind there.
Love the tie-in too to the Gospels with Mary and Martha and that whole thing. One thing that really stood out to me with this psalm is verse 8, and I've heard it said that it's one of the keys to what made David David. And it says, "You have said," meaning like the Lord has said, "Seek my face." And then the psalmist says, "My heart says to you, your face, Lord, I shall seek." And I just thought that was really cool because the Holy Spirit's like the wind, Jesus said. You don't know where it comes from, where it's going. But like if you look at like hang gliders or surfers or people like that, if the wind's right, they don't hesitate, right? They go. Like if the wind can change, whatever. And David doesn't say, "Okay, Lord, sure thing, I'll seek you right after this episode of whatever I'm watching on Netflix," or whatever the case might be. He's like, no, like, okay. And there are those times in our life where there's one thing, like you're saying, is necessary. to seek him, to look to him, to tune in to the frequency of whatever he's trying to say. And I just love that David doesn't hesitate. And that's one of the things that made David David. Like, I noticed, it's hard not to notice, basically all of the Psalms so far are written by David. He was just so tuned in. He had such a beautiful walk with God. And I think that that's one of the keys. So whenever the Holy Spirit prompts you or me, I hope we can all be people that, like David, would say, yeah, like right now, let's go, let's do it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Ryan, what stood out to you today, man?
Man, it's so rich. You guys have covered so much. I just think this one thing that you called out too, that in verse 4, like, I love that. I love how that's, the chorus of the song that sort of repeats that over and over. But I love the other part of that verse is to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord. And I was reading something, I think it's a C.S. Lewis book on the Psalms, and he was talking about that concept and how it's sometimes one like we wrestle with, like, how do you gaze on the beauty of the Lord? And he was using the example, like, for them or for David, like that, this would have been a physical thing, like in the temple. It would have been easy to sort of like gaze on this structure or, with the elements of temple worship as, well, that's the beauty of the Lord. I think for me, like, I don't know why, but when I thought of that verse and that kind of exploration into, like, because we can do that today too. We can gaze at the beauty of a true worshiper, like a great song, like we're watching a Hillsong video, or we're at our church, or we can look at the elements, the bread and the cup, like, whoa, this is like, wow. But I don't know, I was just thinking, like, when I run sometimes, like, and I just like, you just like look up and you just take in like the beautiful surroundings around you. And I'm like, oh man, like that's what I think of as like sort of gazing on his beauty. Or even what we're doing now, like looking at the scriptures, we're like gazing upon the beauty of the Lord, because we're like learning more about the Lord, his character, who he is. And so I think that was the one it's such a cool phrase and way to say it, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord. So that was the one that stuck out to me, but definitely spurred on by you guys too. That was awesome.
So good.
It's awesome.
Well, so rich. Rad, man. Yeah, and man, thank you guys so much for joining. It's super fun, not just to have, we are bros beyond just this day, and we get to do stuff working through the youth network in the area, and it's just super cool to work alongside you guys as we try to lead and encourage youth in the Portland area. So glad you guys joined us.
The blessing's mutual.
Dude.
Love getting to you guys.
Yeah, thanks a ton for hitting us up and getting us into the Word.
Absolutely. Well, we love you guys, and looking forward to Unite next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
UniteYouth.us, May 20th, 7 p.m. Let's do it.
Let's go. All right, bros. Peace.